how do you use AI in a way where it actually brings you value in your day-to-day job?
You don't treat your bicycle the same way that you treat your car. When we stop asking AI questions and start prompting it, we can become better prompters. And this is a really interesting case where we can actually start using AI to get better at using AI.
Welcome to Fix My Workflow, where we take real sales problems from viewers like you and work through them like we would on a real desk. I'm your host, Mateo Valdez, and I'm an account executive here at Microsoft. Today, I have the absolute pleasure of speaking with Hunter Evans, a product go-to-market manager here at Microsoft. Hunter leads a portfolio of cloud security products across the Americas, and he's responsible for building, leading, and executing the go-to-market strategy and training for our field and partner teams. Hunter, thank you for having an up-to-date LinkedIn profile, and thank you so much for being here today.
Happy to be here, Mateo.
Awesome.
Excited for what we're going to get into.
Well, let's get right into it, Hunter. The big question today, and we have a specific question in a second, but I want to start with asking you, how do you use AI in a way where you're not stuck using it, where it actually brings you value in your day-to-day job?
That's a great question. And this is a major shift that we're taking as we learn to adopt AI into our workflows. And AI is technology, just like any other tool that we've adopted. And the way I like to think about it is you don't treat your bicycle the same way that you treat your car. So as we're evolving, we have to learn how to leverage the technology to meet the needs and the demands of the business today so that we can leverage AI for outcomes, not just using it like our old search engines. And the issue that I see is not having the right instructions is what's stopping people from really adopting AI and really jumping in.
That makes a lot of sense. And it beautifully relates into a question we got from one of the sellers who's listening from our community here. And it's one that I relate to as selfishly as a seller. I'm very excited to hear your answer to this.
Yeah.
But the question is, AI is obviously changing everything about sales. Our team is being tasked to find novel uses for AI, but I'm basically using it as a superpowered search engine. How can I actually use this tool in my day-to-day sales flow? So, what do you say, Hunter? Can we fix this workflow?
Absolutely. And this is a great place to start when we think about AI. So the sellers had a problem. They're using it in ways it's not meant to be used, right? We have search engines for a reason, right? They're very much, I need data, I go, I find data, and I'm done, right? It's not an ongoing conversation. It's not a collaborator that we can work with. AI fills that gap for us. And so when we think about AI, we have to stop treating it like a search engine. We're not asking AI questions. We're asking AI to collaborate with us and help us in our day-to-day workflows. So when we stop asking AI questions and start prompting it, we can become better prompters. And this is a really interesting case where we can actually start using AI to get better at using AI.
And I want to point out, I mean, this makes sense because what we're used to for search engines is we ask something, we get an answer, and that's what we get. If we don't like it, then we got to start from scratch. But
very transactional.
Very transactional and not very iterative at all. What you're saying about Copilot and AI is it does take that iteration. Your first answer isn't going to be exactly what you want to get value out of it, but it has to be that conversation. Yeah,
let me phrase it like this. You wouldn't ask Copilot, how do I build an agent, right? That's something you would ask a search engine. What you would ask Copilot is say, this is the agent I want to build. What are the steps? What are the inputs? And what are the outcomes I need to be able to build this agent?
So AI doesn't magically know exactly what you want it to do based off of one question.
No. We have to give it the right inputs and the right variables so that we can get the outcomes that we're looking for. Otherwise, you never know what AI is going to come back with, right? You got to put those guardrails in place, and you got to make sure that we're creating an opportunity so that AI can empower us and not just be noise in the machine.
Well, I mean, this all sounds great. What I would love to see, though, again, so I can directly apply to my own workflows, is a demo, if you can show us.
Absolutely. So for anyone that would be getting started using Copilot or getting started in prompting in general, we're actually going to use AI to help us in that scenario. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open Copilot on my machine, and I'm opening M365 Copilot. And the reason I'm doing this is because even though I'm doing a very generic prompt, I still want to work in a space where I know my data is protected. And because I'm creating a prompt that's going to help me work with my customers to help answer the seller's question, I want to make sure that their data is also protected that I might be putting into my prompt. So I'm going to ask Copilot to start to help me build a prompt to understand my customers' needs. So it'd be very relevant for someone in the field, right? But the variables I'm going to put in here are going to say things like, it needs to be customizable for each of my customers, but easily reusable. So what are the key elements of the prompt that I need to create? And so I let Copilot do its magic, and it's come back with 10 steps for me to create a better prompt. So the first thing is the key elements of the customer needs that the prompt should include. Again, Copilot doesn't know what I want it to tell me without me telling it. So it comes back and it tells me, all right, these are the things that you should always include when you're trying to create a customer needs prompt. The first is the role and the objective, right? What role do I want Copilot to play in gathering the data or insights for my customers? The second is the variables, right? What are the customer inputs that are going to be there? Things like my customer's name, what industry they're in.
Right.
Is there anybody I'm speaking with at the customer? Is it a specific role like a manager or somebody in the executive suite?
Right.
Or is it more engineering tailored? What does their current environment look like? It's going to tailor between different customers. You're not going to have all your customers on one product stack and their businesses are not the same. So you have to be adaptable.
Right.
Then any current initiatives that they might be working on. So maybe you have projects going with them that you want to reference or include. Lots of those customer variables that we're very familiar with. The next is the discovery structure, or what is called the repeatable framework. So Copilot's actually given me two outcomes that it can prompt me from. The first is a outcome, urgency, or value angle approach. This is very useful in my role as a product go-to-market manager, but it gave me a separate one that is a qualification or decision angle. That's more relevant to you in sales. So we have the format of what the framework looks like. Next, Copilot tells me I need to specify an output. What's the format going to be? What are the sections? Do I want this in a table? Do I want this to be an email or an executive summary? Am I writing something that needs a hook that's going to gather customer interest? So those are the kinds of things I want to make sure in the prompt. Last couple here. First, guardrails. So I've talked about, right? Copilot doesn't know what it doesn't know. So we want to put the guardrails on to keep it and only researching what I want it to research, right? If I do want it to go out to the internet, I can allow that. But if I only want it to focus on what I know here by working with my customers, what's in my email, my chats, my meetings with them, I can put those guardrails in place. Next is the tone and audience. So who am I writing this for? Is it an introductory query that I'm putting out there where I want to meet somebody? Is this something that I need to alert them and bring urgency to the conversation? And who am I really talking to, right? I'm not going to talk to the same person, every organization the same. I need to summarize and condense and only bring what's relevant for the customer needs. So I get all those pieces from Copilot telling me how to build my prompt. And then Copilot actually gives me a customizable, repeatable prompt that I can use. So from telling me what the framework is and how I would get there, Copilot's already built this out for me. And so I can actually copy and paste this and start swapping those variables out that we talked through and start customizing this for each of my customers. And then I can run it. Now, one of the really cool things about Copilot is I don't have to run this just once, and it doesn't have to be static forever. I can adapt as I start seeing what the outputs are, or as I start getting more ingrained with my customers. I can even schedule this prompt to rerun. I can have it run on a weekly basis. I can run this and have it quickly referenceable before I go into customer meetings, just to make sure I understand what's the latest going on and make sure I had the most up-to-date information.
And that last part is especially the cherry on top, because as you were talking about the first half of steps that have to do with building the right prompt, all very important things, the context, the expectations, the audience, all those things. My brain, my kind of lazy brain automatically goes to, oh my gosh, that sounds like a lot of work and like a very big prompt that I have to manually type out every single time. So the fact that you can have it in a templatized format that you can reuse and schedule on a consistency that is aligned with your, day-to-day tasks and needs. To me, that's where the true kind of magic happens. So thanks for pointing that out.
And AI is always about getting more efficient in what we do, right? It's a tool like any other tool we use, but it's about making the most value out of our time and getting to the results faster.
Absolutely.
So
with that, how about we summarize the key takeaways?
Absolutely. So when I showed my demo in the outputs that I got from that, I want to be very clear. AI isn't about just answering the questions, right? It's about coaching us to get to the right answers of the questions that we have, but also delivering the content back in a format that we can consume. When we have better inputs, we get better outcomes. That's why I love Copilot, because it'll coach me and tell me what I'm doing wrong. But then I can also flip the script on Copilot and say, you gave me this answer and I don't like the format it's in. How can I change the prompt or change the output to get in a different format that I can consume that's easier?
And it's almost like the product is intentionally named Copilot and not Pilot, right? Because we're the other Copilot, the human. So we do need that back and forth iterative dialogue to ultimately get to the answer that is the result that is as valuable for us as possible.
Right. It makes us better collaborators.
Right.
So you can use AI to improve your workflow, fix your workflow. You can use AI to create better prompting skills and become better and more efficient in your role. And you can actually use AI to make itself better. The more it gets used, the more it learns, the more efficient it gets as we go through it.
Very well put and well summarized, Hunter. Again, as a seller, this has been so helpful for me and so fun to get to see it in real time. So thank you so much for being on here today. And most importantly, thank you for helping us fix that workflow.
You're welcome, Teo. Happy to be here.
Awesome. Well, onwards to our final segment, CTRL+ALT+Delight, our pop quiz break. Today's question is, which meeting format tends to create the most momentum in complex deals? Is it A, a 45-minute demo with every feature? Or B, a 30-minute pricing overview? Or C, a 45-minute outcome workshop with a shared artifact and next step? Or D, a quick sync with no agenda? Before we ask Copilot for the answer, Hunter, what do you think?
For me, it's definitely got to be pricing. Pricing's never slowed down any complex deal that's out there, right, Mateo?
I would disagree with that. I think the obvious answer is D. Come prepared with, a quick sync with no agenda at all. So do not come prepared.
Just wing it, right?
Just wing it, because at the end of the day, it's a person-to-person conversation. You're gonna go in, you'll hear, what they need in real time, and then you can think of how to connect it with your company and your product offerings on the spot, right?
Yeah.
So,
of course.
Yeah, well, just for the sake of doing it, let's ask Copilot.
All right.
So, if you guessed A, a 45-minute demo with every feature, you'd be wrong. If you guessed what Hunter said, or if you guessed what I said, you would also be wrong. Because the correct answer is C, more detail and focus on outcomes is better. As was very clear, I totally knew that answer by heart, and I absolutely did not have a script in front of me that told it to me. So that's it for today, folks. See you next time for another episode of Fix My Workflow.